Welcome to Money Moves, brought to you by 274 Investment Managers, where we share the opportunity to learn more about our personal money management. But this week we speak to a stylist, and you'll ask yourself why. I'll tell you in a moment. He left the world of financial markets to make a business out of fashion through his company, Mr.Slimfit. The founder of the company is Theo Ngobeni, and he believes that fashion, especially so-called power dressing, does help facilitate deal making. He joins us to tell us a bit more about his migration from the world of financial markets to the world of fashion styling. Theo, pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, sir.
Well, you look neatly dressed, and therefore that's enough evidence that you are a stylist yourself.
Yes, sir.
So you can tell that I tried my best to the point that I could, nothing beyond this. But it's reasonable, isn't it? Is it?
You clean pretty well.
Is it? It's okay. It's all right, no?
No, it's good. It's good.
It's decent. Can go into people's lounges and look presentable and acceptable.
Make business deals.
Oh, even deal making
Deal making.
can happen from this.
Looking very clean.
And you look the part yourself.
Thank you, sir.
But you were in financial services.
Yes, sir.
And then you migrated to fashion.
Yes.
There's a reason for that. I mean, we always believe people who deal with money or handle money make more money to be bothered about other things, but it worked the other way around with you. Tell me.
Yes, definitely. I mean, fashion has always been my passion. Growing up, I've always loved looking good. You know, I always say the first time I came to Joburg, it was because, from Pretoria, I was told about this place called Small Street in Joburg. And it has a lot of clothing boutiques and stuff. And then I came there looking for clothes. And that was my first encounter with fashion, And then from there, it just grew, it just became a passion. Even when I went to varsity, I studied at the University of Pretoria. I did finance and investments. After that, I went to work in the financial spaces for one of the top investment banks. I worked, for a good 4.5 years. And then still, through this journey, passion has always been one of the cornerstones of who I am. If you go to my former employers and ask them who Theo is, they'll tell you he was, the stylish guy, the guy with the slim fitted pants, the guy with the crisp white shirt. So that's who I've always been. Through that journey, I realized that there's a gap in the market, especially in menswear. There's a lot that we can do to educate men about fashion and about how to look great.
Okay. Well, let's use the opportunity. For me, many of my friends and my colleagues here, I'm giving you 1 minute plug. Give us a lesson and lecture in how we should look like as men, where you think there are gaps and we're missing the point.
I think one, it's when it comes to suits.
Yeah.
There's a lot of education that we need to do with South African men.
Yeah.
Fabric, it's one of the key things when it comes to a suit. The cut as well as the fit. That's one of the most important things. So if you can get the fabric, the cut, and the style of the suit sorted out
together,
I think that will give you a nice cleaned up and polished look.
And I mean, typically, when you were working with your colleagues in the investment bank, they would come to you, I suppose, for tips here and tips there, right?
Yes, I did.
I mean, just talk through the whole. Don't hold back. You see, we'll get to the money side of things in a moment.
So, when I started, at the bank, I used to have colleagues who'd come to me and say, listen, I'm looking for a brown shoe. I don't know where to find it. I've always loved shopping. I'm one of those men who love shopping.
Oh, you love shopping?
I love shopping.
Well, I think that's a pre-qualifier. You see, that's the important thing that we must go through because you and I know that most men would want to run away from shopping, given a chance.
Well, for me, it's the opposite.
Okay.
I love shopping. Yeah. And I've always been one of those, I'd go to shops and look at what they have, look at different trends, what's coming up. And I always knew. So a colleague would come and say, I'm looking for brown shoes. And I'd say, what type of shade? Yeah. And they say, this type of shade, what sort of style are you looking for? And they tell me. And I'll give them, out of the top of my head, 3 stores that have that shoe.
Yeah.
So that's how I was. I was more informed about things that are, when it comes to fashion.
Sure.
When it comes to the looks as well, they'll say to me, Ash, I'm looking for a new suit. What do you think I must get? Where should I go? And I'd advise them. Sometimes I'd go shopping with them and show them, this is where you need to go for this. This is where you need to go for that. And through that, I realized that somebody said, actually, what you're doing now, it's called personal shopping. You can turn this into a career.
Yes.
I didn't know about it. And then I started researching about personal shoppers. That's how I found out there's a whole industry, of personal shopping and personal styling.
Clothing, I'm going to suggest something, and I may be wrong here. It's like the wine industry, right? People think that if it costs more, then it's great quality. Is it the same? I mean, with clothing, people say, a great suit means you must pay 30,000 rands. Does it have to be the case?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a suit for everyday wear, for work, and you need something that's very durable. And in terms of that, there's different types of fabrics. I always advise clients when they come through to our studio that what is it that you're looking for? Are you looking for an everyday suit, or are you looking for a special occasion suit? So there's different types of fabric, and they vary in terms of the quality. So if you're looking for an everyday suit, go for something like 100% wool.
Yeah.
That's very nice and durable. If you're looking for something that, for special occasion, the one that you wear once a month or whenever you have that big meeting, go for something higher in terms of the thread count. You're looking at, from your super 110s to all the way to super 160s. So depending on how much you want to spend and how premium you want it to be, then you're able to spend based on that.
And we'll come back to deal making. This is my final question on clothes, and we'll also talk about your company. Here is a picture. What if you bought a polyester suit and a nylon shirt, and you put yourself together that way? Is it a bad way of making a statement?
Not at all. I mean, I think the most important thing, if it looks good on you, if it fits you properly and it's properly put together, then you have a great way of making a statement.
Okay.
So it depends on, like I said, what you're looking for.
Okay.
When I started, I used to wear polyester suits.
Yes.
We get them. A lot of South African stores sell polyester and a mixture of polyester and viscose.
Yeah.
Because it's very durable as well.
Yes,
But
yes.
the one thing I don't like about poly and viscose is the fact that it starts to shine.
Yeah.
It creates that shining effect, and which is the one thing that I don't like when it comes to a suit.
Deal making and dressing, do they influence one another, you think?
I think so, definitely.
Explain.
I'd say, if I had to walk into a room right now full of investors and I said to them, this is who I am, this is what I do, probably most of them would be, very willing to give me money because of simply of the way I look. I look well put together and very polished. It does.
Okay.
It does. But if somebody walks in there with a baggy suit and, things not properly put together.
And pants
hanging,
around their bums, hanging and so on.
So investors will be very reluctant to give money to someone like that because when you have a polished look and you look well put together, people have a perception that you know what you're talking about. You
take yourself seriously.
You take yourself seriously.
You've invested time in yourself
yes.
before you could you came to see the guy, whoever you are coming to see, right?
Definitely, and the fact that you pay attention to detail.
Right. Now we've worked in the financial services sector and now in the fashion world and interacting with clients and so on. When you listen to how we reason about money as we buy from you, what do you think is the gap that of understanding, in terms of understanding how money works and what we should do with whatever money we have once we've given you the majority of it?
I think a lot of people don't. It's quite interesting being in a business where you have different clients that come in, and they wanna spend the money. Different people have different ways of spending. And I've since I've been in business, I'm seeing that spending patterns differ from individual to individual. Some people, like you said, they want to come in and say, I just want to buy a suit. If it's more expensive, then it means quality.
Yes,
but somebody will come and say, I'm educated and this is what I'm looking for. They know their fabrics and things like that. So spending patterns vary from client to client. But I always say that people spend a lot of money on things that they're passionate about.
Yes.
Sometimes they don't understand it, but it's something they love.
But here's the point. I'll call it this Kostani mindset, for lack of a word. You're from Attridgeville, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you know how we think about things. We work hard for the money, and then the whole game of whatever money you've got is how to have a Kostani look at the expense of everything else.
Yeah.
If you want to save money long term and look after your interests and look good at the same time, what tip do you give?
I always say prioritize, I think one of the problems that we have, especially with us as Black people, is that we love instant gratification. We want to make money now and spend it now. We want to enjoy. We don't think long term. And I always say to friends and family, you have to think long term. I've always been like that. I'm one of those people that I'm terrified of debt. You know, I'm afraid of debt. I know you can't live without it, but if you can, minimize it. When I started working, I bought my car in 2009. I made sure that I paid off as quickly as possible. I was lucky enough that in a year I paid it off. 7 years later, I'm still driving the same car. In between that, I've invested in a couple of properties. You know, I bought a couple of properties, made sure that my long-term investments are sorted, because I knew someday that I would have to leave the comfort of my job and start my own company. When I left my previous job to start my own company, there's a saying that one of my mentors said. He said, businessmen don't have pension funds. They have investments.
Yeah.
And so I cashed in all my pension fund to be able to sustain myself in terms of living when I started this business, because it was very difficult. I mean, it's very difficult to start a business from scratch without funding. So it's self-funded. My business is self-funded. And I made sure that, you know, everything that we make, all the profits that we make, I'm putting back into the business. I'm not in a hurry to reap the benefits, because I have a long-term plan. I'm building a legacy with this business.
Sure.
And I think that's one of the key things that we need to remember, especially with small businesses. You need to remember that you need to have a long-term plan.
Yes.
When you're making profits, you don't take them and, you know, leave the Skotani lifestyle and do all those things. You need to reinvest back into the business. When you're making 10,000, reinvest it back up until you make 100. Reinvest it back up until you make 1 million. And that's how it is.
Okay.
Take it one step at a time.
Mr. Slimfit.
Yes, sir.
Quick one. How do we get in touch with you for those who want to look good without destroying long-term investments?
All right. Our website, it's www.mr.slimfit.com. On social media, we're on Instagram. It's Mr._Slimfit. On Facebook, it's Mr. Slimfit.
Okay. Well, one of the days, you'll give me a slim look as well, and then I'll tell people who watch us and say, this is the slim fit look that you're looking at here now. Much appreciated, Theo. Everything of the best to you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Much appreciated. There you are. You can be a Skotani-like character if you want to, but make sure that you've got a long-term game that you are playing with your money. Take a long-term view of things, and if you're a business person, that's what I took from Theo, you must be in the game of investment more than pension funds, right? Is that correct? That's it. So we've learned something. Would like to hear from you, by the way, about the topics you'd like to have us covered here on Money Moves. You write to us. Email address is tonightwithtimmodise@gmail.com or on Twitter @timmodise.